The streets are buzzing and the hip-hop world is in chaos. 50 Cent has just dropped a bombshell that could shake the entire G-Unit legacy. After a revealing interview with Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda, 50 Cent didn't hold back. He called out Lloyd Banks and Fabolous in a way that fans weren't expecting. This isn't just a casual shout-out or a minor jab. This is a full-blown exposure moment, and the fallout could change the perception of some of hip-hop's most respected veterans. Imagine the tension. Lloyd Banks, a cornerstone of G-Unit, and Fabolous, one of New York's finest lyricists, suddenly put in the hot seat because of insider revelations. Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda, longtime collaborators and friends of 50 Cent, spilled stories, gave context, and revealed behind-the-scenes drama that fans have only speculated about for years. And now, 50 Cent has taken that information and delivered a response so sharp it's sending shockwaves through the streets. Questions are flying. What did 50 Cent really say? How deep does this clapback go? Was it personal, strategic, or just raw street honesty? And most importantly, how will Lloyd Banks and Fabolous respond, if at all? Fans are hungry for answers, and social media is already exploding with theories, memes, and reactions. This isn't just gossip. It's a front-row seat to G-Unit history in the making. In this video, we break down Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda's interview, analyze 50 Cent's clapback, and uncover the shocking truths behind the beef that everyone in hip-hop is talking about. You do not want to miss this. The moment 50 Cent decided to clap back at Lloyd Banks and Fabolous was a culmination of years of tension, subtle shots, and behind-the-scenes dynamics that most fans only ever saw fragments of. This isn't just casual rap beef. This is the inner workings of G-Unit politics, loyalty tests, and street credibility colliding in a way that very few outside the circle truly understand. Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda, two of 50 Cent's closest allies, stepped forward in a recent interview and gave fans a glimpse of what was really happening behind closed doors. Stories that were shocking, raw, and completely unfiltered. For years, rumors circulated about fractures in G-Unit's hierarchy, about disagreements that weren't visible on the surface. Lloyd Banks, known for his lyrical precision, and Fabolous, a respected veteran, had long been caught in the crosshairs of fans' speculation. Some insiders claimed that subtle slights in interviews, verses, and collaborations hinted at tension, but nobody could confirm anything until now. Yayo and Uncle Murda broke down how certain decisions, studio moments, and strategic moves over the years fueled a simmering conflict, culminating in 50 Cent's explosive response. The most shocking aspect? According to Tony Yayo, some of the issues stemmed from loyalty questions within the crew, as well as perceived misalignments in priorities and street credibility. Fabolous, while celebrated for his lyrical skill, was portrayed in the interview as someone who occasionally crossed unspoken boundaries, challenging the respect 50 Cent expected from his inner circle. Lloyd Banks, meanwhile, was painted as a figure caught between loyalty and independence, someone who sometimes prioritized personal moves over the collective reputation of G-Unit. When 50 Cent heard the stories from Yayo and Uncle Murda, he didn't mince words. His clapback wasn't just a response, it was a statement, a warning, and a reclamation of authority. Every word he delivered carried weight, history, and implications. Fans have dissected his delivery, tone, and phrasing, noting that this wasn't about petty beef. It was about staking claim over a legacy that he helped build. Social media erupted within hours. Clips from Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda's interview spread like wildfire, with reactions ranging from shock to excitement. Fans debated endlessly. Was 50 Cent justified? Did Lloyd Banks or Fabolous deserve the call-out? Could this spark a lyrical retaliation, or would it remain a street-level exposure moment? The discussion dominated hip-hop forums, YouTube comments, and Twitter threads for days. Adding another layer, insiders revealed that some of the stories Yayo and Uncle Murda shared weren't just opinions, they were verified incidents from studio sessions, collaborations, and street dealings. This gave 50 Cent's clapback even more credibility, turning what could have been a minor social media moment into a full-blown G-Unit revelation. It wasn't just about words, it was about history, context, and legacy. Meanwhile, the ripple effects reached beyond G-Unit. Other artists, collaborators, and hip-hop veterans weighed in. Some praised 50 Cent for defending the honor and cohesion of his crew. Others criticized the move as unnecessary exposure that could fuel division. But one thing was clear, nobody was ignoring this moment, and the implications would be felt for years to come. Fans also began analyzing past collaborations and diss tracks in a new light. Were there subtle references in past songs aimed at Lloyd Banks or Fabolous? Could 50 Cent have been dropping hints for years, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal the full story? The theory went viral, and analysts began combing through discographies, interviews, and even old social media posts to uncover hidden context. Every line was scrutinized, every verse examined, and every bar potentially reinterpreted in light of this explosive revelation. Street credibility, influence, and perception play huge roles in hip-hop culture, and this clapback was a textbook example of controlling narrative. By going public, 50 Cent didn't just address the issues, he set the record straight on his terms. Fans, analysts, and insiders all recognized that this was a strategic masterclass in hip-hop politics, blending personal loyalty, public perception, and legacy protection into a single moment of viral drama. Tony Yayo's and Uncle Murda's interviews also highlighted the personal side of the conflict. Behind the bravado, there were genuine grievances, frustrations, and moments of disappointment that shaped 50 Cent's reaction. It wasn't just about dissing, it was about accountability, respect, and holding people within the circle responsible for their actions. The stakes were high because in hip-hop, especially at G-Unit's level, respect isn't given, it's earned, maintained, and defended. As the story circulated, fans began revisiting G-Unit history with renewed interest. Iconic moments, past feuds, and collaborations suddenly had a new context. Lines in old songs, previously thought innocuous, were now being reinterpreted. Analysts speculated about whether 50 Cent's clapback might lead to lyrical retaliation, public confrontations, or even shifts in alliances within the rap community. The anticipation was palpable, and the streets were watching every move. This wasn't just a clapback, it was a lesson in legacy, influence, and the unseen dynamics of one of hip-hop's most famous crews. 50 Cent showed that, even years after peak G-Unit dominance, he still had the power to command attention, spark debate, and reshape narratives. The combination of insider interviews, strategic revelations, and his explosive response made this moment one of the most talked-about events in recent hip-hop history. And the conversation is far from over. Fans are still dissecting every clip, analyzing reactions from Lloyd Banks and Fabolous, and speculating on what comes next. This is the kind of rap drama that keeps the culture alive, the kind that fuels discussions, reactions, and theories for weeks. In hip-hop, moments like this aren't just news, they're historical markers, shaping how fans remember legacies, crews, and rivalries. The moment 50 Cent's clapback hit the public, the rumors and reactions exploded across social media, and the streets went wild. Every fan, every blogger, every hip-hop commentator wanted to dissect the details of what Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda revealed. Clips of their interviews were shared thousands of times, breaking down incidents that had been whispered about for years. Every story, every detail, seemed to add fuel to a fire that had been quietly smoldering behind the scenes of G-Unit. Fans immediately began speculating, was 50 Cent's clapback a direct response to personal slights, or was it a calculated move to assert dominance over the crew? Some argued that this was long overdue, that 50 had been holding back for years, letting loyalty and respect guide his silence. Others claimed the timing was intentional, designed to coincide with a period when Lloyd Banks and Fabolous had major projects, creating maximum shock value and media attention. Every scenario added layers to the drama. The G-Unit fanbase split almost instantly. Some defended Lloyd Banks and Fabolous, claiming that the public clapback was unfair, that certain grievances were private and should have stayed behind closed doors. Others sided with 50 Cent, praising him for exposing hypocrisy and holding his circle accountable. Memes and viral posts began portraying the situation in exaggerated, humorous ways, some depicting Lloyd Banks as caught slippin', others showing Fabolous scrambling to respond, and 50 Cent towering above as the unshakable leader who could call shots whenever necessary. Meanwhile, insiders pointed out that this incident was more than just a crew spat. It's a reflection of power dynamics within hip-hop itself. G-Unit has always operated on multiple levels: music, street credibility, and influence in the culture. By publicly clapping back, 50 Cent wasn't just targeting Lloyd Banks and Fabolous, he was sending a message to the entire rap community. Loyalty, respect, and reputation are non-negotiable, and no one, even longtime collaborators, are exempt from scrutiny. The timing of the clapback also had strategic undertones. Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda's interviews didn't just drop information, they created a platform for 50 Cent to respond with precision. His words weren't just personal, they were calculated to dominate conversation, dominate headlines, and dominate perception. Fans noticed that every phrase, every emphasis was carefully chosen to make an impact. Unlike a typical rap beef, this wasn't just lyrics, it was controlled narrative and street-level politics converging. Social media became a battlefield. Twitter threads exploded with breakdowns of the interviews, YouTube videos went viral with fans reacting to each line, and forums dissected every past track and lyric in light of the revelation. Fans began revisiting classic G-Unit albums and Fabolous discography, searching for any hidden lines or subtle jabs that could support or contradict the stories shared by Yayo and Murda. The energy wasn't just online, it was a full cultural moment, with fan engagement reaching levels rarely seen outside major rap beefs. The clapback also opened discussions about accountability in hip-hop crews. Longtime fans reflected on how internal conflicts often go unspoken until someone chooses to make them public. In this case, 50 Cent chose to assert control, reinforcing that leadership in hip-hop isn't just about making hits, it's about maintaining respect, influence, and boundaries within the culture. For many, this was a lesson in hierarchy and authority, showing how a leader can navigate loyalty, friendship, and reputation all at once. Industry insiders also weighed in, debating whether the exposure might affect future collaborations. Could Lloyd Banks and Fabolous respond with music, interviews, or diss tracks? Or would the clapback remain a street-level statement, unchallenged in the public eye? Analysts speculated that a lyrical retaliation might be inevitable, given the personalities involved, but also that the stakes were higher than normal because this wasn't just about ego, it was about legacy and respect within a legendary crew. Meanwhile, the fan frenzy produced some of the most creative commentary seen in years. TikTok videos, Instagram clips, reaction videos, and memes flooded the internet. Fans recreated interviews, imagined behind-the-scenes interactions, and even acted out hypothetical confrontations between 50 Cent, Lloyd Banks, and Fabolous. This wasn't just speculation, it was fan culture in overdrive, blending entertainment, analysis, and street commentary into one massive wave of engagement. What made the story even more explosive was the level of insider detail Yayo and Uncle Murda provided. Fans learned about studio moments, heated discussions, and decisions that never made it public before. Every revelation added context to 50 Cent's clapback, explaining why it wasn't just a random outburst, it was the culmination of years of observing, listening, and waiting for the right moment to speak. This was a man who understood timing, strategy, and impact, turning personal grievances into a full-blown cultural moment. The fallout also highlighted Fabolous and Lloyd Banks' positions within hip-hop. Both have reputations as lyrical powerhouses, yet the exposure forced them into a corner. How would they respond without undermining their credibility? Could they use music, interviews, or social media to defend themselves? Or would remaining silent become a statement in itself? Fans debated endlessly, weighing the potential outcomes and theorizing about the next moves in this unfolding drama. At the same time, the story underscored the importance of loyalty and alliances in hip-hop crews. G-Unit has always thrived on a balance of friendship, respect, and strategic maneuvering. By clapping back publicly, 50 Cent reminded everyone that even top-tier collaborators aren't immune from accountability. In hip-hop, words carry weight, actions have consequences, and history is always watching. The streets, fans, and industry insiders all recognized that this was more than just a moment. It was a lesson in power, control, and influence. Even months later, fans are still dissecting the interviews, the clapback, and every subtle detail. Discussions about past G-Unit tracks, collaborations, and beefs have resurfaced, often revisited in light of this revelation. The story has become a living piece of hip-hop history, with each new discussion adding context and depth. It's a reminder that the legacy of G-Unit, and the individuals within it, is complex, layered, and constantly evolving. The conversation has also expanded to include hip-hop culture as a whole. Fans, analysts, and creators recognize that this is a textbook example of how internal dynamics shape public perception. Leadership, loyalty, and credibility aren't just personal. They define careers, influence legacies, and even shape the direction of rap culture itself. 50 Cent's clapback isn't just about words. It's about demonstrating authority, managing narratives, and protecting his place in history. Shows that 50 Cent's clapback is a full-scale cultural event, not just a personal beef. From social media chaos to industry analysis, from street-level speculation to fan theories, this is a moment that captures the drama, strategy, and raw energy of hip-hop at its highest level. The streets are buzzing, and everyone knows the fallout is far from over. Fans continue to debate what comes next. Will Lloyd Banks respond? Will Fabolous fire back with music or interviews? Or will 50 Cent's clapback remain? The defining moment of this chapter in G-Unit history? One thing is certain. The story isn't just about confrontation. It's about power, legacy, and the hidden dynamics that govern one of hip-hop's most influential crews. The aftermath of 50 Cent's explosive clapback didn't just fade. It ignited a firestorm across the hip-hop world. Fans, artists, and insiders were scrambling to analyze every angle, every word, and every implication of what 50 Cent had just unleashed. Social media platforms became battlegrounds, with Twitter threads, TikTok clips, YouTube reaction videos, and Instagram reels dissecting the interviews from Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda, and, of course, 50 Cent's fiery response. The streets of New York were buzzing. Fans debated fiercely in forums and comment sections. Was 50 Cent justified? Did Lloyd Banks or Fabolous even deserve such a public call-out? Could this spark a full-on lyrical retaliation, or would it remain a purely public spectacle? Even casual listeners found themselves drawn into the drama, sharing theories, memes, and hot takes as if they were on the front lines of G-Unit history themselves. The energy didn't just stay online. Inside the music industry, executives, collaborators, and fellow artists were weighing in. Many saw this as more than just a personal beef. It was a statement about control, leadership, and legacy. 50 Cent didn't just clap back. He reasserted authority over his crew and his narrative, sending a warning to anyone who thought they could challenge him, even subtly. Hip-hop veterans praised his strategic timing and precision, noting that this moment was as much about perception management as it was about calling out perceived slights. Meanwhile, Lloyd Banks and Fabolous found themselves navigating a delicate situation. They had to respond in a way that maintained credibility without escalating the beef too far. Fans speculated about every possible scenario: a lyrical response, an interview statement, or a subtle social media jab. Each day without a response only heightened anticipation, fueling discussion and keeping the story trending across multiple platforms. The suspense became part of the narrative, turning a personal clapback into a global spectacle. Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda's revelations also added layers of historical context. They detailed moments in the studio, past conflicts, and decisions that had been quietly brewing for years. It wasn't just gossip. It was a roadmap of loyalty, power dynamics, and influence within G-Unit. Every anecdote they shared painted a picture of 50 Cent as a leader who values loyalty above all else, someone willing to publicly hold even longtime collaborators accountable when necessary. Fans also began revisiting classic tracks, searching for clues or hidden lines that might tie into the conflict. Lyrics in G-Unit albums, past Fabolous features, and subtle ad-libs were suddenly being dissected in minute detail as theorists tried to piece together the narrative. This wasn't just entertainment, it became an analytical exercise in understanding how hip-hop operates behind the scenes. Fans were effectively turning into armchair music historians, connecting dots and creating a fuller picture of G-Unit's inner workings. The response also sparked broader discussions about respect, loyalty, and accountability in hip-hop crews. Many argued that 50 Cent's move was a reminder that leadership carries responsibility and that credibility within a group isn't just given, it's earned and maintained over time. The clapback demonstrated that even the most established artists are subject to scrutiny when loyalty and reputation are at stake. In other words, this was a masterclass in hip-hop politics as much as it was a personal confrontation. On social media, reactions ranged from outrage to admiration. Memes depicted Lloyd Banks and Fabolous scrambling under the spotlight, while 50 Cent was often portrayed as untouchable, the ultimate puppet master controlling the narrative. TikTok recreations of the interviews and dramatic reenactments went viral, turning the story into a cultural phenomenon. Every reaction clip, every breakdown video, and every fan theory contributed to the momentum, ensuring the story remained in the public consciousness. The situation also highlighted the fragile balance of alliances and rivalries in the rap game. Loyalty isn't just a personal value, it's a currency. 50 Cent's public response reinforced that alliances within G-Unit aren't just symbolic, they have tangible consequences for reputation, opportunities, and influence. The message was clear: cross the line, and you'll face the consequences, no matter how long you've been part of the crew. Fans began speculating about the long-term implications. Would this tension lead to future collaborations falling apart? Could it impact upcoming projects, tours, or features? Some theorists even suggested that this could shift the dynamics of East Coast hip-hop, as other artists watch closely to see how loyalty and authority are being enforced. In a world where street credibility and public perception drive careers, the impact of this clapback was far-reaching. Even months later, the story remained alive in fan discussions, reaction videos, and hip-hop media. Analysts continued breaking down Tony Yayo's and Uncle Murda's interviews, re-examining past lyrics and theorizing about the unseen dynamics of G-Unit. Every new video, post, or interview seemed to reference the moment, proving that 50 Cent's clapback wasn't a fleeting headline, it became part of hip-hop history. At the same time, the story highlighted the psychology behind high-profile beefs. Fans and insiders alike noted that 50 Cent's approach combined timing, strategic disclosure, and public accountability in a way that few artists could execute. The clapback wasn't just emotional, it was calculated, designed to maximize impact and ensure the legacy of G-Unit remained untarnished. It was a power move that demonstrated mastery over both music and perception. Ultimately, this final part of the story shows that 50 Cent's clapback wasn't just about calling out Lloyd Banks and Fabolous, it was about controlling the narrative, protecting his crew, and reaffirming his influence in hip-hop culture. The ripple effects are still being felt as fans, artists, and media continue to analyze the fallout. The streets, the forums, and social media remain alive with discussion, and every new development adds layers to an already intense story. This moment will be remembered as a defining chapter in G-Unit's history, showcasing the complexities of loyalty, power, and accountability in one of rap's most legendary crews. It's not just a clapback, it's a lesson in strategy, influence, and the unseen dynamics that shape hip-hop culture. Fans now understand that in the world of G-Unit, respect isn't just spoken, it's earned, tested, and defended, and 50 Cent has made it crystal clear that he will always protect his legacy and his crew, no matter what. And as the dust settles, one thing is undeniable: this isn't the end. Every fan knows the story will continue to unfold. Reactions will keep coming, responses may surface, and the streets will stay buzzing. 50 Cent's clapback wasn't just a moment, it was an earthquake in hip-hop culture, and its aftershocks will be felt for years to come.